Have you ever been told you're too quiet? That your voice doesn't carry enough weight? Well, let me tell you a story about Ilara, a girl whose whisper would one day command armies and silence the roar of a battlefield. Ilara grew up in the bustling city of Eriador, a place where the loudest voices always won. From the market stalls to the grand halls of power, it was all about who could shout the longest, and Ilara. Her voice was a soft melody in a storm, easily drowned out. Her classmates would mimic her, cupping their hands to their ears, saying, "What was that, Ilara? Speak up." Even her own family, with the best of intentions, would sigh and say, "Oh, Ilara, you need to be bolder if you want to be heard." For years, she believed them. She saw her quietness not as a trait, but as a flaw, a weakness she couldn't overcome. She learned to stay in the shadows, to listen more than she spoke, convinced her voice had no place in a world that prized volume above all else. But in her silence, Ilara discovered a different kind of power. While others were busy shouting, she was observing. She noticed the subtle shift in a merchant's eyes just before a deal went sour. She saw the tiny tremor in a guard's hand that betrayed his fear. She learned to read the unspoken language of the world, the truths hidden beneath the noise. Her silence wasn't empty. It was filled with perception. Then the unthinkable happened. The formidable Shadow Legion, a relentless army from the north, laid siege to Eriador. The city's famous commanders, with their booming voices and grand speeches, roared orders from the walls. But it was chaos. Their shouts overlapped, creating a cacophony of confusion. Soldiers ran in circles, receiving contradictory commands, and fear spread faster than fire. The city's defenses were crumbling, not from the enemy's strength, but from their own disarray. Watching from a quiet corner of the command tent, Ilara saw the patterns in the chaos. She saw the enemy's flanking maneuver before anyone else. Panic was setting in. The lead general, his voice hoarse from shouting, slammed his fist on the map, at a loss. In that moment of desperate silence, Ilara stepped forward. "General," she said, her voice soft but clear. Everyone turned, some with pity, others with annoyance. "They're baiting our center. Their real attack is on the western flank. Move the 3rd and 5th Legions to reinforce the west wall and use the archers to pin down their vanguard. It will look like a retreat, but it's a trap." The general, desperate, looked at this quiet girl. He had heard her insights before, whispers in strategy meetings that were often overlooked. But now, with everything on the line, her calm clarity cut through his panic. She didn't need to shout. Her words were quiet, but they were precise, intelligent, and perfectly timed. From the walls, a strange and awesome sight unfolded. The thunder of battle was still there, but woven through it was a new kind of order. Ilara's quiet voice, carried by the chain of command, was orchestrating a symphony of defense. The enemy used two predictable, loud tactics, was completely bewildered. They fell for every trap. The final blow came when Ilara commanded a silent, coordinated charge from a hidden gate, shattering the Shadow Legion's command structure. As the sun began to set, an eerie quiet fell over the battlefield. The surviving enemy forces were in full retreat. They looked from the broken enemy to the command tent, where the architect of their impossible victory stood. Ilara hadn't raised her voice once. She didn't need to. The very people who once mocked her soft voice now looked at her with awe.